Okay, I love this book, The Chess GPS 2, because it's part of a trilogy written by Grandmaster Sam Palatnik, and I like to see his games. In this case, we have a game Vasyukov against Palatnik, played in Uzhgorod in 1972. The title of the game is Playing Where He Should Not. Vasyukov played e4, and this chess set is a replica of Arvid's 1850-1855. So when the Staunton just started, this type of knights that you can really recognize, and the king. Okay, e4, c5, knight f3, d6, knight c3, e6, giving white one more opportunity to transpose into the Najdorf variation after, of course, d4. But you see, guys, if he played knight c3, it's because he doesn't want to play the Najdorf. He wants to play the close Sicilian. So it's logical that next would be this or this. And in fact, here I see g3. Yes, the next move is g3. And here it says this is not so much a refusal to play the Najdorf as an attempt to expose the weaknesses of black's previous move, which was possibly premature and even useless. Knight c6, bishop g2, bishop g4. White's plan also has a flaw. Black gains full control of the d4 square. h3. Without negotiation, white immediately provokes the exchange of the bishop for the knight. This adds another layer to the future development of the game. So much has been written of the famous bishop pair. Yeah, this is the thing, right? Every time I have a position, I think if I really want to exchange it or not. And in this case, I must say that one should watch Fischer's games, because Fischer really had a particular feeling to when do that, when it was convenient to exchange the bishop pair, instead of just going dogmatically and say, no, I don't want to exchange the bishop pair, and maybe end up in a very bad position. So bishop takes f3, queen takes f3, and now there is g6, and here it says there is a diagram, and it says all hands working to keep control of the d4 square. Black's only hope for successfully fighting against the bishop pair is the option to rely on this outpost. Okay, so yeah, they are fighting. Black at least is definitely trying to cement his grip over d4, right? a3. This move is considered a dubious move. Why? Because maybe the problem is there. But yeah, he probably doesn't want maybe something on like before. I don't know. Bishop g7, castle, e6, and rook b1, knight g e7, and b4. Here another diagram. As you can see, this book it's really good because he has enough diagrams every few moves. So if someone wants to do a visualization exercise, that would be good. But guys, this is the problem I have. As you can see, I show you the game from the black perspective. Why? Because black will win the game. In chess books, they don't care. They just show you from the white perspective no matter what. But in this case, you would like to see it from the black perspective because it's from black side that you want to layer, right? And black side is Palatnik, the guy who actually made the book. So that's why we want to see it from the black perspective. Okay, now at the diagram there is the following comment. If we were to say that white initiated play where he should not, fans of the Sicilian defense should understand us. Here there is no reason to chase the white queen away from f3, where it is in nobody's way except her own pieces. Yeah, so just think about this queen. If the queen wasn't here, white could play this, right? And this is one of the plans that you have when you play the close Sicilian. Which can also be a Grand Prix, right? But f3, it's blocking everything. And so there is a clear lack of coordination in white's camp, right? So what would you play, guys, if you were black here? Just remember, white played b4. Try to pause the video and guess what you would play. Grandmaster Palatnik played b5. To which follow b takes c5, d takes c5, knight e2, and castle. d3, knight a5, sorry, queen a5, sorry, my mistake. Activating the queen and forcing the c1 bishop to protect the a3 pawn. So this bishop is practically blocked here. Why is that a problem? Because there is no connection between the rooks, and that makes all the side weaker. So white continue with queen e3. The white queen is still in the way of its own pieces. No? Yeah, again, this is what you want to have, as a position, because you are going to attack. But like this, you cannot go here and attack. But at least, why did he play queen e3? Because he wants to play f4. But again, how do you play f4 that you could have this problem of a skewer, right? So as you can see, there are some problems in this position for white. Rook a c8. However, black's position has started to improve. c3, as you can see, is fighting for d4. And now, guys, this queen takes c5 is not good at all. Why? Because there is knight d4, queen takes e7, knight takes e2. So remember, guys, when queen takes c5, knight d4, you cannot take the knight d4 because there is rook takes c5. Why I'm showing to you like this? Because I want you to practice visualization. In a real tournament, you cannot move the pieces, right? So that's the problem. So queen takes c5, knight d4, queen takes e7, knight d4 takes e2, check. The king goes here, the rook take control of the 7th rank and gobble this pawn. So that's why taking on c5 is not good. Why? Because now the black pieces are attacking, they are in this territory, but the queen there it's by itself, and so it's not really something good, because in order to win a position you need more than one piece, right? Okay, so after c3 we have rook a c8, c3 we said, and then rook f d8, bishop b2, and knight e5. An interesting way to counteract the threat of d4 by inviting it. If d4, follows knight c4, which is very comfortable for the black knight. Okay, and now white played knight c1. The knight takes a run-up along the Rybavskaya. The Rybavskaya street is the main street in Odessa, Ukraine, with a unique atmosphere and cultural background. Black was threatening c4, okay, d4, knight d3. So that's why this move knight c1 to control d3. As you can see, this is clear prophylaxis, right? It's all about prophylaxis to try to prevent the enemy from entering into your own territory. Because once the enemy enters, it's difficult to bring him away, right? Queen e4, and now there is queen e2 again. Now, if you were black, what would you play? Because sometimes it's difficult to think of these moves because we just want to go forward. We don't want to go back. But sometimes to go back helps because there is an idea behind. Here the move is knight 5, c6. And here the author writes, an amusing move. Black clearly declares that he lost two tempi, moving his knight back and forth, and it seems that he gave up on improving his position. But somehow this caused his opponent to take advantage of this earned time via the moves knight c1 and queen e2, which worsen white's position and at the same time remove the threat of the advance d4 from the agenda. Knight e2 to place where the insulted person has a corner for his feelings. Rook d7. It is time for a new phase of improving the position, and this move is important as the beginning of the retargeting of the heavy artillery towards the backward d3 pawn. So practically black controls the square d4 and he is trying to attack the backward pawn on d3. Again continue with f4, rook c d8, rook b d1, knight e5, bishop f3, knight b3, e5, blocking the diagonal. But once this is the problem, every time you advance a pawn you create some weaknesses. In this case the next move is knight f5 that attack this, so if you do this there is a fork and so you need to defend with king h2. But once you defend with king h2, obviously black needs to reposition this bishop. Why? Because it's bad. As you can see, it's not controlling nothing here, yeah? And so he plays bishop f8. After bishop f8, bishop c6, rook c7, and here there is an interesting move which he says rook e4, but it's not rook e4. Sorry guys, this is a mistake. What he means is bishop e4. But again, I tell you, it's a R. So here you can see that there is a mistake in the printing, a typo. So it's a bishop e4. And this is the good thing, as you can see, of having a diagram, because you just check and see that it's bishop e4, right? So what does black do here? Because this is a very important moment, and this is why you want to have books, because the books made by the old authors have really a diagram generally in a critical moment. Here there is a diagram, okay, that you can see here. I'm covering the part because I want you to guess what is the next move by black. The move is b4. This breakthrough is the culmination of a struggle. Black's advantage becomes concrete. White tries to attack on the other side with g4, but black continue on this side. B takes a3. And now it follows bishop c1, because remember it's also controlled by that. Knight takes c1. Well, it's not controlled by that because there is the pawn c5 in the middle. Okay, let's see. Knight takes c1, rook takes c1, and rook b8. Okay, so that was the real idea, to go on b2 and give a big problem on this. Black threatens an invasion and white does not have time to start a counter-attack. Okay, so the thing is, in my opinion, guys, that here we should have, we should have had a second, no, when black played b4, no? Let me put the pieces like they were. I think this was the position. So when he played b4, in my opinion, g4 was played, b takes a3, so white didn't sacrifice on this. He didn't want to sacrifice on that because the queen a3 still help to maybe enter. However, I mean, you see, in this case, for example, you know why I'm surprised? Because you say, oh, but bishop is 3 points, this is 1. No, this is not 1. This is like a 5. Why a 5? Because a pawn on the 6th rank or the 4th rank, it's very near to promotion. And as you can see, it can even support an invasion. So this pawn at this point is very, very important. So he played this, and now this pawn, it's really a thorn, right? It's a big thorn in white's territory. I don't know, for me it seems a big problem, but maybe I'm wrong, right? After rook b8, what did white play? Obviously white needs to prevent rook b2, and so he played rook b1, blocking it. If you do rook b2 now, he will take, and take back, so white has neutralized the problem. Obviously he doesn't take he doesn't go on b2, but he will take the rook, and he takes back. And now there is knight e7, obviously because it was attacked for a while. Now white makes a kind of mistake, and again I tell you the mistake is due to the fact that every time you move a pawn, in this case he plays c4, you create a lot of squares that are not controlled anymore, you know. And so he played this move to prevent knight d5, but once you play this move, this becomes possible. And so, yeah, black played immediately knight c6. Yeah, I'm right. Rook b6, and guess what? Knight b4. Now he probably wants to have 2 pass pawn because they become unstoppable. In fact, he took here, and guess what? And the game is over. The game is over because they use the decisive game, the decisive advantage, queen a2 obviously, but now this is supported. Now, you know what is the real problem? That you are using like 9 points to block 2. So at this point, black is +7, right? That's math. And what does he do, black? He plays queen d1, f5, but now the dark squares become vulnerable, right? Queen c1, f takes c6, f takes c6, and then c5. I don't know, it doesn't make much sense. He wants to push that pawn. Yeah. So what would you play after c5 if you were black? Try to pause the video and think a little, because it's a very interesting move. Very interesting move. The move is rook f7. And now there is rook takes c6. But in case of queen takes c6, there would be queen f4, king g2, queen f2 check, king h1, and then bishop takes c5, and the game is practically over. But let's see what happens in real life. In real life it happens rook takes e6, queen f4 check, king g2, king f1 check again, king g3, and now again try to guess what is the next move by black, because it's a very interesting move. The move is b3. So why b3? Here, guys, I tell you again the same story over and over. I'm sorry if I'm repetitive. A chess player, in order to learn chess, he should acquire a book about checkmate patterns, especially if you're a beginner, and do that over and over, maybe like 1000 checkmate patterns, and so you get the grasp. Here is the same. If he plays queen takes b3, there is queen f2 checkmate. Okay, so this thing you must be able to see them right away. So what did white do? He played queen d2 to avoid the checkmate here, but then how do you stop this? Because the next square it's the promotion, and this is the end of this game from the chess GPS to your move, your choice. So this series of 3 books is mainly made by Grandmaster Palatnik Games, and he will teach you important choices in the middle game. So I hope, that you enjoyed the book. Unfortunately, this camera doesn't have the possibility to stop it without me actually coming and stop the video. And that's it for tonight. Thank you very much.